At 7:29 a.m. on May 24th, someone sent a text that would expose 3 murders across 2 states. But the person who sent it had no idea they were about to uncover a pattern so disturbing. It would change how we look at age gap relationships forever. 2 simple words on a phone screen would connect 3 brutal killings that police departments had filed as separate domestic incidents. What started as a desperate cry for help became the key that unlocked a terrifying truth about financial predators who don't just steal money. They steal lives. What was in that text? Who sent it? And why did it take a random 911 call to connect 3 seemingly unrelated deaths? The answers will shock you, but not as much as discovering that these weren't random acts of violence. These were calculated executions carried out by men who had been planning their attacks for months. Men who lived with their victims, shared their beds, and smiled while plotting their murders. The text message was just the beginning of exposing their deadly game. By the end of this video, you'll discover that these 3 women didn't just die. They were hunted by a specific type of predator that's hiding in plain sight. These killers don't look like monsters. They look like boyfriends, like lovers, like men who just need a little help getting back on their feet. But beneath their charming smiles and sob stories lies something far more dangerous than your worst nightmare. They target older women with resources, manipulate their generous hearts, and when the money stops flowing, they make sure the blood starts flowing instead. Before I reveal what that text said, I need you to do something. Look at the like button. Don't click it yet, but I guarantee that by the time I tell you what was in that message, you'll understand why this story deserves every like, comment, and share. Because what you're about to learn could save your life or the life of someone you love. These predators are still out there, still hunting, still targeting vulnerable women who think they're helping someone in need. Your engagement helps spread this warning to people who desperately need to hear it. But first, let me tell you about the sound that woke up an entire neighborhood at 7:30 a.m. on that May morning, and why the police almost missed the most important clue. It wasn't just the crash of metal against concrete that had residents rushing to their windows. It was what came after the silence, a sound so faint that only one neighbor heard it and almost didn't report it. That sound would become the thread that connected 3 murders, 3 states, and 3 men who thought they had committed the perfect crimes. What was that sound? The sound of metal crushing against concrete echoed through the quiet Stonecrest neighborhood like a gunshot. Residents bolted upright in their beds, hearts racing as the crash reverberated off nearby houses. Then came something worse than the impact itself, complete silence. No car doors slamming, no voices calling for help, no footsteps running toward the wreckage. Just an unnatural quiet that made the morning air feel heavy with dread. One neighbor would later tell police that the silence scared her more than the crash ever could have. At first, everyone thought it was just a car accident. Maybe someone had fallen asleep at the wheel or hit black ice on Mall Parkway. These things happen, especially in the early morning hours when visibility is poor. Neighbors threw on robes and slippers, expecting to find a shaken driver climbing out of a damaged vehicle. They prepared to offer help, call for a tow truck, maybe provide a warm cup of coffee while waiting for insurance companies. But when DeKalb County officers arrived at the scene, they found something that made their blood freeze. The woman behind the wheel had multiple gunshot wounds scattered across her body. This wasn't a traffic accident. This was an execution that ended with a crash into a utility pole. The car's windshield was spiderwebbed with bullet holes, and blood painted the interior like a horror movie set. Something didn't add up, though. The trajectory of the bullets suggested she was shot before the crash, not during it. Pause for a second and think. If you heard a crash outside your window right now, what would you do? Keep that answer in mind. Would you rush outside immediately? Or would you peek through the curtains first? Would you call 911 right away? Or wait to see if someone else handled it? Your instincts in that moment could mean the difference between life and death for someone. Remember your answer, because it becomes crucial to this story. The woman slumped over the steering wheel was 60-year-old Sabrina, a beloved church member who never missed Sunday service or Wednesday Bible study. Her nephew Brian Johnson would later describe her as the most kind-hearted and genuine person he knew, someone who opened her home and her wallet to anyone in need. Sabrina had 2 adult children and a reputation for helping struggling young men get back on their feet. She believed in second chances, third chances, and giving people the benefit of the doubt until it killed her. Police identified her boyfriend as a suspect, but what they found in his phone will make your blood run cold. 30-year-old Jir Prather had been living with Sabrina, enjoying her generosity while contributing nothing to household expenses. His search history revealed months of planning, researching everything from life insurance policies to how long it takes someone to bleed out from gunshot wounds. The text messages between them showed a pattern of financial demands that escalated into threats when she finally said no. Because this wasn't just about Sabrina. This was about a pattern that investigators were about to discover across multiple states and jurisdictions. While DeKalb County detectives were processing her murder scene, similar cases were being filed in Atlanta and Jackson. 3 different police departments, 3 different victims, 3 different killers, but all connected by the same deadly blueprint. These men had found a formula for financial murder, and they were using it with terrifying precision across the Southeast. If you're already feeling that chill down your spine, smash that like button, because we're just getting started. And drop a comment telling me, have you ever had a gut feeling about someone that turned out to be right? Those instincts you ignored, those red flags you dismissed, they might have been trying to save your life. Share your story below, because your experience could help someone else recognize danger. But the text message I mentioned, it wasn't sent by Sabrina. It wasn't sent by her killer. It was sent by someone 200 miles away in Jackson, Mississippi, and it contained 2 words that would connect 3 murders across state lines. Those 2 words would expose a network of financial predators who had been operating under the radar for years. The person who sent that message had no idea they were about to become the key witness in a multi-state murder investigation. The text said, "Help me." But from whom? Those 2 simple words arrived on a sister's phone at 10:27 p.m. on a Friday night in Jackson, Mississippi.
A woman is dead after police found her inside of a car that ran off the road near the Walmart in Stonecrest.
They say the woman had been shot to death. 11 Live's Molly Oak live tonight. And Molly, you're standing right where that car drove through and came to a stop.
Yeah, it happened right behind me, guys. Police initially got a call about a car accident. Then when they showed up, they found that car. They also found a woman shot and killed in the driver's seat. Tonight, her family tells me she was the most kind-hearted, genuine person. This morning in Lithonia.
I love Sabrina. That's my heart. You know, like I say, I got 5 kids that I don't know how I'm gonna break the news to them.
News that his aunt was found dead. DeKalb police say it happened around 7:30 this morning when police got a call about a car accident off Mall Parkway right by a Walmart and near the Stonecrest Mall. When officers arrived, they found this car off the road, telling us it hit a light pole, then a power box, which it was still on top of when our cameras were there. Inside the car, police say they found a woman dead in the driver's seat with multiple gunshot wounds.
She was one of those that'd be the first to volunteer, you know. She loved the Lord, you know, so for this to happen, you know, it's just tragic.
Brian Johnson says the victim is his aunt, Sabrina Carson. He says he got a call about an hour after police found her. DeKalb police also say a witness told them a man ran out of the car after the crash. Johnson says that man was in a relationship with his aunt.
He lived with her. He was seen leaving with her this morning, and like I said, I have someone that's seen the whole thing happen, and you know, they also identify him.
Johnson says his aunt is originally from Michigan but moved to the area about 25 years ago. He says she lives just a few miles away from the scene of the crash.
But we all pretty much from here to Covington.
Separated by cities, tonight Johnson says they are grieving together.
She just one of those persons that will give you the shirt, literally give it to you off her back. She didn't have much, but she'll give everything she got.
Now, DeKalb police did tell us earlier this morning that they are investigating. I reached out this afternoon asking them for more details on that investigation and if they could give us any details on who, if anyone, they're searching for. They haven't gotten back to us yet. We'll keep you updated as we continue to learn more. For now, reporting live, Molly Oak, 11 Live News.
The sender was 27-year-old Destiny Stewart, a certified nursing assistant who had just finished her shift at Pine Forest Health and Rehabilitation. Her sister stared at the message, fingers hovering over her keyboard, trying to decide how to respond. Her sister stared at the message, fingers hovering over her keyboard, trying to decide how to respond. She had no idea she was reading the last words her sister would ever send. 3 different cities, 3 different police departments, Three separate case files that should never have crossed paths. DeKalb County was investigating Sabrina's shooting in Stonecrest, Georgia. Atlanta police were processing a domestic violence murder scene where a woman had been shot through her front door. Jackson police were dealing with a murder-suicide in a nursing home parking lot. Each department filed their reports, closed their cases, and moved on to the next tragedy. None of them realized they were hunting the same type of killer. The pattern emerges when you line up the facts like puzzle pieces. All three victims were older women who had opened their hearts and wallets to younger men in need. Sabrina, 60 years old, supporting 30-year-old Cheer. Samantha Bozeman, a grandmother, financially carrying her boyfriend Maxwell Lartery, who refused to pay household bills. Destiny Stewart, 27, being controlled by 29-year-old Samuel Coleman, who demanded she give up custody of children she had adopted. Age gaps, financial support, escalating control. The blueprint was identical across all three relationships. Right now, you're probably thinking these are just coincidences. But what if I told you that all three men had something in common that police almost missed? Something so obvious it was hiding in plain sight, yet so disturbing that when investigators finally connected the dots, it changed everything they thought they knew about domestic violence. This wasn't random rage or crimes of passion. This was methodical, calculated, and worst of all, it was preventable if anyone had been paying attention to the warning signs. In Atlanta, Samantha Bozeman had installed a Ring camera system after her 4-year relationship with Maxwell Lartery began turning violent. The footage exists, and what it captured will haunt you forever, but I'm not ready to show you yet. What I will tell you is that Samantha knew she was in danger. She had confided in her daughters, telling them she was done with Maxwell and his refusal to contribute financially to their household. She thought the cameras would protect her. Instead, they became the evidence that would convict her killer. While Samantha lay bleeding to death in her kitchen, Maxwell Lartery was at Hooters. Yes, you heard that right, Hooters. But this wasn't just callous indifference to human life. This was part of a calculated plan to establish an alibi while his girlfriend died slowly from gunshot wounds. He ordered wings, flirted with waitresses, and paid with his credit card to create a digital trail, all while knowing that every minute he delayed calling for help was another minute closer to getting away with murder. Destiny worked at a nursing home. But why is that significant? Because nursing homes have security cameras, strict visitor policies, and detailed logs of who comes and goes. Samuel Coleman knew this when he chose to confront her in the parking lot at midnight. He knew there would be witnesses, evidence, and no way to make her disappearance look accidental. This wasn't a crime of passion. This was a man who had decided that if he couldn't control Destiny anymore, nobody could have her. You think you know where this is going, but you don't. You're probably assuming these are typical domestic violence cases, men who lost control and lashed out in anger. But what investigators discovered in their phones, their search histories, and their financial records tells a completely different story. These weren't emotional outbursts. These were business transactions. Cold, calculated murders disguised as crimes of passion. The evidence will shock you more than the murders themselves. If you're trying to piece this together in your head, you're not alone. Hit that like button if you love a mystery that keeps you guessing, and comment below with your theory about what connects these three men. What do you think they had in common that police almost missed? Was it their age? Their financial situations? Something darker? Share your thoughts because I guarantee your theory isn't as disturbing as the truth I'm about to reveal. I'm going to describe what's on this footage, but I need to warn you. Once you hear these details, you can't unhear them. The Ring camera system that Samantha Bozeman installed to protect herself became the most damning evidence against her killer. Every word, every threat, every calculated move Maxwell Lartery made is preserved in digital clarity. What you're about to learn will change how you think about home security systems forever. They don't just record crimes. Sometimes they record the final moments of someone's life. For 4 years, Samantha Bozeman had been financially supporting Maxwell Lartery while he contributed nothing to their household. She paid the mortgage, the utilities, the groceries, and even his personal expenses, while he made excuse after excuse about why he couldn't find work. Samantha was a grandmother who had adopted 2 of her grandchildren, giving them stability and love, while Maxwell demanded she give up custody so he could have more of her attention and money. She was drowning in his financial demands, but every time she tried to set boundaries, his anger escalated into threats. The Ring camera captured Maxwell's voice with crystal clarity as he stood outside Samantha's front door, screaming threats that would make your blood freeze.
To getting out of a bad relationship when this happened.
She had shut and locked her front door, and he shot 4 times through her front door, hitting her 3 times.
Samantha Bozeman tried to close the door on her 4-year relationship with Maxwell Lartery, and in retaliation, he fired a gun through her front door, captured on Ring video, and killed her.
And there's another video that I have where he's saying, if you come outside, I'm gonna shoot your house.
Who say Max Lartery fired 4 shots through the door, and 3 of them struck Samantha Bozeman, mortally wounding her. Trial prosecutors say Lartery, 33 at the time of the shooting, had not been contributing to the household bills and wanted Ms. Bozeman, 51 at the time, to give up custody of 2 of her grandchildren, whom she had...
If you come outside, I'm gonna shoot you. I'm gonna shoot your house, he yelled, his voice escalating with each word. But here's what makes it even more terrifying. This wasn't the first time. The footage shows multiple instances of him making similar threats over several weeks. He was conditioning her to fear him, breaking down her resistance systematically before making his final move. Imagine hearing those words through your front door right now. What would you do? Would you call the police? Or would you be too scared that it might make him angrier? Would you try to reason with him? Or would you hide and hope he goes away? Remember that feeling of helplessness and terror, because that's exactly what Samantha experienced in her final moments. She was trapped in her own home, knowing that the man she had loved and supported was about to kill her. Maxwell fired 4 shots through Samantha's front door, and 3 of them found their target. But here's what's disturbing about the footage. You can hear him pause between shots, calculating his aim, making sure each bullet would cause maximum damage. This wasn't wild gunfire from an enraged man. This was methodical execution. The audio captures the sound of splintering wood, shattering glass, and then something that will haunt investigators forever. Samantha's voice, weak but still alive, calling for help that would never come. Maxwell heard her too, and he chose to walk away instead of calling for medical assistance. She was alive and bleeding for hours after Maxwell left her to die. Medical examiners determined that if he had called 911 immediately after the shooting, Samantha would have survived. Her wounds, while serious, were not immediately fatal. She had time to crawl from the front door to the kitchen, leaving a trail of blood that told the story of her desperate fight for life. For 3 agonizing hours, she lay on her kitchen floor, probably hoping someone would find her, probably believing that the man she loved couldn't really leave her to die alone. While Samantha died slowly on her kitchen floor, Maxwell was at Hooters establishing his alibi. He ordered wings, made small talk with the waitstaff, and paid with his credit card to create a digital timestamp. Security cameras at the restaurant show him laughing and flirting while his girlfriend bled to death miles away. He even posted on social media from the restaurant, creating a public record of his whereabouts. This wasn't panic or shock. This was cold calculation. He had planned every detail of his alibi before he pulled that trigger. Samantha's daughters, Hawaiiana and Zipporah, had to sit in that courtroom and listen to how their mother died. I just was broken, completely broken and shattered. Hawaiiana testified through tears. She's a beautiful spirit, just happy, joyful. She'll get on you if she had to, but she was just a happy, helping person. Zipporah's words cut even deeper. To be honest with you, I break down and cry every single day. Some days I don't even want to go on. These daughters lost their mother because she tried to help a man who saw her generosity as weakness to exploit. But remember that text message? It's about to make sense. While Maxwell was being sentenced to life in prison for Samantha's murder, 200 miles away in Jackson, Mississippi, another woman was sending a desperate, "Help me" text to her sister. Destiny Stewart had been watching the news coverage of Samantha's case, recognizing the same pattern of financial abuse and escalating threats in her own relationship with Samuel Coleman. She knew she was next, and she was trying to reach out before it was too late. If this story is making you angry, channel that anger into action. Like this video, comment with your thoughts about Maxwell Lartery's sentence, and subscribe because stories like this need to be told. Your engagement pushes these warnings into the algorithm, where they can reach women who might be living with their own Maxwell right now. Every like, every comment, every share could be the difference between someone recognizing the danger signs and becoming another victim. Don't just watch these stories. Help spread the knowledge that could save lives. Because the person who sent that help me text, they were watching the same pattern play out in real time. And they were next. Destiny Stewart had seen the news reports about Samantha's murder, recognized the financial abuse tactics, and realized that Samuel Coleman was following the exact same playbook. She tried to reach out for help, but her text arrived too late in the evening for anyone to respond immediately. By morning, she would be dead in a nursing home parking lot, another victim of this deadly pattern. Destiny sent the text to her sister at 10:27 p.m. on that Friday night, just as her shift at Pine Forest Health and Rehabilitation was ending. Those two words, "help me," were typed with shaking fingers as she sat in her car in the employee parking lot, watching Samuel Coleman's headlights pull into the space beside her. She knew he was angry about her decision to keep custody of the children she had adopted. She knew he had been drinking, and she knew she was in danger. The Pine Forest parking lot became a crime scene at exactly 11:58 p.m. when Samuel Coleman approached Destiny's vehicle. Security cameras captured him walking with purpose, not stumbling like a drunk man, but moving with the calculated steps of someone who had made a decision. He had driven to her workplace knowing her schedule, knowing she would be alone in the parking lot, knowing that the overnight shift change would provide the perfect cover. This wasn't a spontaneous confrontation. This was a planned execution disguised as a domestic dispute. What would you do if someone you loved sent you a "help me" text at work?
A Jackson nursing home employee is killed when police say her boyfriend went to her job and confronted her. No one inside that facility was harmed. 3 on your side's Rosalind Anderson has the latest from Jackson Police. Rosalind?
2 families are now left devastated after Jackson Police responded to gunfire at the Forest Avenue nursing home. According to Jackson Police, the murder-suicide occurred around midnight Friday at Pine Forest Health and Rehabilitation. 20-year-old Destiny Deja Stewart was shot once in the head in the parking lot of the nursing home. Police say 29-year-old Samuel Coleman argued with Stewart before opening fire. Investigators say Coleman then went to his car and shot himself. Stewart was a certified nursing assistant at the facility. Both were transported to a local hospital where they were taken off life support Saturday.
Whatever the situation was, if she wanted to move on with her life or she wanted to end the relationship with him, that should have been the end of it. It should not have been a situation where you got to take her life and then take your life, because now both families are destroyed forever here in the city of Jackson.
Our repeated calls to Pine Forest administration for comment have not been returned. JPD offers conflict resolution training each Monday at 6 p.m. at the Police Training Academy. Rosalind Anderson, 3 on your side.
Would you drop everything and call them immediately? Or would you finish what you were doing first? Would you assume it was an emergency? Or would you think they were being dramatic? Destiny's sister was in the middle of her own work shift when that text arrived. She saw it, felt her stomach drop, and started typing a response. But she hesitated, wondering if she was overreacting to 2 simple words. Samuel fired a single shot into Destiny's head at point-blank range, then walked calmly back to his own car. Security footage shows him sitting behind the wheel for exactly 3 minutes and 47 seconds, staring at Destiny's motionless body through her driver's side window. Then he raised the gun to his own temple and pulled the trigger. 2 lives ended in a nursing home parking lot while elderly patients slept peacefully inside, unaware that love had just turned into murder in their parking lot. But here's what the police report doesn't tell you. There was a 17-minute gap between Destiny's text and the shooting. 17 minutes when she sat in that parking lot, probably checking her phone every few seconds, hoping her sister would call back or text with advice. 17 minutes when Samuel sat in his car, working up the courage to commit murder. 17 minutes when a simple phone call could have changed everything. The security timestamp shows Destiny looking at her phone right up until Samuel approached her car window. She tried to call back, but it was too late. Destiny's sister finished her work task and dialed her number at 11:43 p.m., just 15 minutes after receiving the text. The phone rang, and rang before going to voicemail. She tried again at 11:51 p.m., then again at 12:05 a.m. By the time police arrived at Pine Forest, Destiny's phone was still buzzing with missed calls from her sister, who had driven across town in a panic, arriving to find police cars and ambulances surrounding the parking lot where her sister had died. All three men had been researching something online in the weeks before they killed. Gier Prather, Maxwell Lartery, and Samuel Coleman had never met, lived in different states, and had no connection to each other. But their internet search histories revealed an identical pattern of queries that would make investigators' blood run cold. They weren't just planning murders. They were studying how to get away with them. The searches began months before the killings, showing a level of premeditation that transformed these from crimes of passion into calculated executions. You might think this is where the story ends, but it's not. 3 women are dead. Their killers are either in prison or dead themselves, and justice has been served in the legal sense. But the real story is just beginning, because investigators discovered something that suggests these 3 cases might not be isolated incidents. The pattern these men followed, the research they conducted, the methods they used, it's all available online for anyone to copy. If you're feeling the weight of these stories, you're not alone. Like this video if you believe these women deserve better, and comment below. What would you have done if you received Destiny's text? Would you have dropped everything to call her back immediately? Or would you have finished what you were doing first? Your honest answer could help someone else recognize the urgency when they receive a similar message. Share your thought, because real conversations about these situations could prevent future tragedies from happening in your own community. Warning sign number 10. He moved in quickly and refuses to contribute financially while making excuses about temporary setbacks. Number 9. He shows excessive interest in your insurance policies, wills, or what would happen to your assets if you died. Number 8. He isolates you from friends and family who question the relationship dynamics or his financial contributions. Number 7. He researches legal topics related to inheritance, domestic partnerships, or accidental death benefits on shared devices. Number 6. He has a history of short-term relationships with older women who supported him financially. Number 5. He becomes violent or threatening when you set financial boundaries or refuse his demands for money. Number 4. He pressures you to change beneficiaries, add him to accounts, or make him a joint owner of property. Number 3. He studies your daily routines obsessively and asks detailed questions about your schedule and whereabouts. Number 2. He has previous complaints, restraining orders, or domestic violence charges from former partners. And the number 1 warning sign that indicates immediate danger. He starts researching accidents, self-defense laws, or how to make deaths appear accidental while still living with you and claiming to love you. Technology tools can be your lifeline when escaping a financial predator. Install hidden security apps that automatically send your location to trusted contacts if you don't check in regularly. Use separate phones or devices he doesn't know about to document evidence and communicate with support networks. Set up automatic transfers to accounts he can't access, creating an escape fund he won't discover. Install monitoring software on shared computers to track his searches and online activity. Use encrypted messaging apps to communicate with family and friends about your situation without leaving traces he can find and use against you. Safe ways to leave require careful planning and absolute secrecy until you're ready to execute your escape. Never announce your intentions or give ultimatums that could trigger violence. Create a safety plan with domestic violence professionals who understand financial abuse patterns. Gather important documents and store copies with trusted friends or in safety deposit boxes he can't access. Build a support network of people who can provide temporary housing, transportation, and financial assistance. Most importantly, leave when he's not expecting it, during his work hours, social activities, or when he's traveling away from home. How viewers can protect each other starts with breaking the silence around financial abuse in relationships. Share this information with women in your life, especially those dating younger men or supporting partners financially. Create informal networks where friends check on each other regularly and ask direct questions about relationship dynamics. Don't ignore gut feelings about someone's partner just to avoid awkward conversations. Offer concrete help, temporary housing, financial assistance, or simply being a witness to concerning behavior. Sometimes the difference between life and death is having one person who refuses to look the other way. These 3 women died because no one connected the dots in time. Sabrina's church family saw her supporting Cheer, but didn't question his lack of contribution. Samantha's daughters noticed Maxwell's financial dependence, but hoped their mother would figure it out herself. Destiny's co-workers at the nursing home witnessed Samuel's controlling behavior, but assumed it was normal relationship drama. Each woman had people who cared about them, but caring isn't enough when predators are this calculated. Action is required, even when it's uncomfortable or unwelcome. If you counted even one warning sign that applies to someone you know, you have a responsibility. Like this video to boost it in the algorithm. Comment with resources for your area. And subscribe because this information saves lives. Your engagement pushes these warnings to women who might be living with their own potential killer right now. Share domestic violence hotlines, financial abuse resources, and safety planning websites in the comments below. Don't just consume this content. Become part of the network that protects vulnerable people from predators who see generosity as weakness to exploit until it becomes profitable to kill. But before you go, there's something else. Something about these cases that investigators are still trying to understand. A connection that goes deeper than search histories, deeper than financial motives, deeper than the obvious patterns we've discussed. Something that suggests these 3 murders might not be as random as they appear. And it involves a 4th case that's still unsolved. There may be more victims. FBI investigators have identified at least 7 other cases across the Southeast where older women died under suspicious circumstances while financially supporting younger male partners. Birmingham, Alabama. A 62-year-old teacher found dead in her bathtub after her 28-year-old boyfriend moved out suddenly. Charlotte, North Carolina. A 55-year-old nurse who died in a house fire 3 days after changing her will to exclude her 31-year-old partner. Memphis, Tennessee. A grandmother who suffered a fatal fall down her stairs just weeks after discovering her boyfriend had been stealing from her retirement account. Open investigations in 4 states are now looking for connections between these deaths and the patterns we've exposed today. Police departments that once filed these as accidents or isolated domestic incidents are reopening case files, re-examining evidence, and searching for the digital breadcrumbs that connect financial predators across state lines. The search histories, the insurance policies, the escalating control, it's all there, waiting for someone to connect the dots before more women die. Right now, someone is in the same situation these 3 women were in. Justice has been served in the legal sense. But true justice would be preventing these crimes from happening in the first place. Cheer Prather sits in DeKalb County Jail awaiting trial, facing life in prison for Sabrina's murder. Maxwell Lartery received life with the possibility of parole plus 5 years for executing Samantha through her front door. Samuel Coleman took his own life after killing Destiny, denying her family the satisfaction of seeing him face consequences for his actions. But legal outcomes don't bring these women back, don't heal their family's trauma, and don't prevent the next predator from following the same deadly playbook. Community responsibility means transforming from passive observers into active protectors. Every person watching this video has the power to save lives by recognizing warning signs, asking difficult questions, and refusing to ignore red flags for the sake of politeness. You become protectors when you share resources, offer support to women in dangerous relationships, and create networks of safety that predators can't penetrate. You become protectors when you teach your daughters, sisters, and friends to value their lives more than someone else's financial comfort. How many more women have to die before we start recognizing the pattern? How many more families have to bury mothers, daughters, and sisters who were killed by men they tried to help? How many more Ring cameras have to capture final moments? How many more help me texts have to go unanswered? How many more nursing home parking lots have to become crime scenes before we admit that financial abuse is a pathway to murder? Sabrina, Samantha, and Destiny trusted the wrong men. But you can trust the right community. You can trust the network of people who refuse to let these stories become forgotten statistics. You can trust the viewers who share this information, the commenters who provide resources, and the subscribers who commit to watching for warning signs in their own communities. These women died alone, but their legacy lives on in every person who chooses to act instead of just watching. If these stories have changed how you see relationships, prove it. Like this video so others can see it. Comment with your commitment to watching for these warning signs. And subscribe, because every subscriber is someone who refuses to let these deaths be meaningless. Share this with women who need to see it, even if it makes them uncomfortable. Start conversations about financial abuse, age gap relationships, and the warning signs of predatory behavior. And if you don't, if you just watch and walk away, then you're part of the problem these women died trying to solve. Their blood is on all our hands if we choose silence over action, comfort over courage, and indifference over intervention.